God. Well, welcome to today's edition of Take Five. You know what we're talking about? We're dealing with a subject which is a question that seems to be asked everywhere. That's this: why bother going to church? I mean, what's the point? Why do we do it? We can get it on TV. We can get it on internet. We can get it right straight on our phone. I mean, we hear Christian sayings and cliches on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and so on. Why even bother showing up in person? And to answer that question, we just have to use our brain just a little bit and think. And if you'll do that and make your flesh hush, because your flesh kind of wants to talk louder than our brain sometimes than what we actually know. And so sometimes we may just need to make our flesh hush and use that understanding that God has given us and realize that the Bible, the New Testament from Acts to the first 3 chapters of Revelation, points to that local assembly gathering together. So it's something that we need to do. It's something we ought to strive to be a part of. Now, we've been laying out 5 things this week as to why we need to do it. We've talked about 3 of them. Number 1, it's proof of my profession of faith. Number 2, it helps me to be a part of something bigger than myself and makes the world about others and not just about me. And number 3, it provides encouragement between believers. Let's do 2 more of them today to end this series out. Number 4, I need to be a part of a local church because it helps me grow through proper teaching and training. It helps me grow spiritually. That's what the Bible intends for me to do as a believer, is to grow, to go from just a believer to turn into a disciple. That's what God intends for me to do. And I do it through the proper teaching and training that comes at the church. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, I can listen to teaching and training all day long on TBN and Daystar and Inspiration Network and TCT and all that. I get it, and I'm not throwing that stuff aside. But you need to be a part of something locally. You need to be a part of something in your area where you're getting the same teaching and the same training from that area and from those that God has put over to teach you. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11 said, Christ gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, and the teachers. We know that as the fivefold ministry. Now, if God gave those gifts to the local church, why would we think that we don't need to partake of them and utilize these gifts that God's given us? That's just food for thought. He gave them, verse 12, to equip His people for works of service so that the body of Christ can be built up until we all reach the unity in the faith. So He's growing us up. Guess what? We're not grown up yet, so we still need teaching and training, and we're going to need it till Jesus comes. We get this training and teaching until we reach unity in the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of Christ. And then we'll no longer be infants tossed back and forth by the waves and blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by the cunning and craftiness of people in their deceitful scheming. The fivefold ministry, friend, is only beneficial to us when we're a part of a local body of believers. The purpose is to bring a corporate body of people into maturity and unity, so the church is necessary. Let me ask you something. If all you do is get church at home, who's the pastor at your house? Who's the apostle? Who's the prophet? Who's the evangelist at your house if you do that? These things function inside the local church. They're for the body of Christ. If you're saved, then you need to be in a local church so that you can partake of the benefits of the fivefold ministry. If you want to stretch this thing out, we can stretch it out into the gifts of the Spirit as well. Who prophesies at your house as the Spirit leads? Who speaks in tongues and then someone interprets at your house? We saw this happen in our church on Sunday morning. Happened in a very timely manner. God confirming His word by a message in tongues and then the interpretation of that tongue that was there. And so these things happen inside the local assembly. And so we need to gather together so that we get proper teaching and training. Number 5, last on the list. We need to gather together and be a part of a local assembly because that allows me to be a part of an unbreakable circle of prayer. Acts chapter 12 says, about that time Herod the king stretched out his hand to harass those that were in the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because that pleased the people, he proceeded then to seize Peter. Now that was during the days of unleavened bread. So when he arrested him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 squads of soldiers to keep him, intending to bring him out after Passover and kill him. Peter was kept in prison, but constant prayer was offered to God for him by the local church. Now we know it wasn't just this person praying in their house and this person praying in their house and this one praying over there, although you can do that, and I'm glad we can. There are just times that the church needs to be together to go into a season of intense intercession on behalf of a need that is this serious. And they had all gathered together at Mary's house, and they were all over there praying. And we know that they were gathered together because when God sent his angel and delivered Peter from prison, Peter went to where the church was gathered together praying. Now, friend, we need to be a part of a local church so that we can be a part of a circle of prayer like that. We need to be able to go. I mean, we've done it right here in our church and just shut down a service just to pray for a particular need. We've done it on Wednesday nights. I remember times we've done it even on our Sunday morning or Sunday night service. We just shut down everything that we had planned so that we could pray for a particular need. And that's one of the benefits of being a part of a body of believers, is that we get to pray for our own that way. And the good thing about it is when you participate in that, when you're praying for others, sooner or later that thing's going to turn around and that church is going to be praying for you. And so we need that. We need to be able to be a part of that unbreakable circle of prayer. So 5 things, 5 reasons. This is as streamlined as I can make it that we need the local church for, and we need to be a part of it. Number 1, it's proof of our profession of faith. Number 2, it causes us to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. Number 3, it provides encouragement between believers. Number 4, it helps us to grow into what God intends us to be through proper preaching and teaching of that 5-fold ministry and use of the gifts. And number 5, it causes us to be a part of an unbreakable, powerful circle of prayer. Friends, if you need any more proof than this, I don't know where you're going to find it. Hey, why don't you decide right now that you're going to make some changes this year and you are going to be a part of God's local assembly, wherever that is, and reap the benefits from the church. And let's serve our God in our church, in our community, like never before. Hey, I've got to get out of here. Hope you have a great weekend. I look forward to worshiping with you Sunday and then starting a brand new series of Take 5 devotions on Monday. Till then, God bless you. Trust the Lord, friend. He will never fail you.